Hi, this is Kevin Germain, and I'm going to give you a little tutorial on a couple Web 2.0 tools that I would think would be great formative assessment tools in the classroom. With education today, formative assessment is a big deal. Getting constant feedback from the students to understand are they getting the concepts and material that you're covering. So I'm going to show you a couple tools today. The tools I'm going to show you that are great formative assessment tools are Quizlet and Socrative. So we're going to start off. I'm going to take you to Quizlet.com. And Quizlet.com, first thing you need to do is sign up. And the easiest way to sign up for a Quizlet account is to go to Google Sign In if you have a Google Drive and Google Gmail account, because it automatically syncs right in with your Drive and Gmail. Or if you don't have a Gmail account, just go to sign up. It's very simple. But I'm just going to go ahead and log in today because I already have an account. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how the site works as a formative assessment tool. Alright, so first of all, this is my home page. You can see I've used this for my classes that I teach in school. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I am going to join or create a class. Sorry about that, I was confused for a second. I'm going to join and create a class, and I'm just going to call this class. So before I explain this, to join and create a class, the point of this is to create a class so your students can log into the website, join your class, and then they can see all of your sets that you've created, and you can kind of track their progress with this. So I'm going to call this class just government. And I'm going to create this class and ask for a description. I'm not going to give one today, but I'll type in my high school that I teach at. And it's East Buchanan High School in Gower, Missouri, and they've already got it on here, as you can see. Oops, looks like I messed up, so we're going to try this one more time. Alright, got it that time. So I'm going to create this class now. And as you can see, once I get this, this class doesn't have any sets. And as a student, or when they log in and they create their account, they would go to join or create a class right here where my cursor is. And then what you would do is just go to search Quizlet. I would give them my username, and then they could automatically just hit join my class. And once I accept them to my class, they would have access to all my sets, and I'd be able to track their progress. You can kind of see I've got a couple classes created already where like my American government class has 82 members. Let's go back to this government class, and as you can see there's no sets yet, so we need to create a set for my students to practice. And what this site is a way to, I guess I would best describe it as a way to study vocabulary. So what I'm going to do is since this is a government class I created, I'm going to create a set of vocabulary terms that deal with the Bill of Rights. So that's what I would call the set title. And then I go down here and you can see I have terms and definitions. And like I said, it's just a great way to study vocabulary. I clicked English, obviously, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put about 5 or 6 terms in here just to show you how the site works. So I typed in Bill of Rights, and then that's the term. On the right, you now have the definition, and you're able to just type in whatever you want here, but I'm going to show you an easier way to do this. First of all, you see this first option I have. This is a picture, and it kind of syncs right in with what you type in. So I've got the picture of the Bill of Rights, which kind of helps the students visualize it. This next option my cursor's on is a voice recording, where I can record audio into my definition. But I'm going to show you the third tool, which I think is the most useful, and this is called auto-define. As you see, once I click on it, it gives me a bunch of definitions that have been used by other people who have created sets on this website as definitions for the Bill of Rights. And now that I find one I like, I click on it, and that will be my definition. I'm going to go ahead and add a few more here. Just going to add the first 5 or 6 amendments, and then once again I get Amendment 1, and I'm going to find what I like as a great definition: the 5 basic freedoms: religion, press, speech, assembly, petition. I get Amendment 2. Again, on the definition: right to bear arms, very simple. Amendment 3. Once again, find the definition, and right to not have to quarter soldiers. I don't like that one, so I'm able to kind of erase some parts I don't like. And let's add an image here. And as you can see, kind of having trouble finding some images for this one, so we'll skip that part for this one. Go Amendment 4. Again, auto-define. Right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure. Let's see if we can find a picture for this one. I like this one. It's talking about right to property and stuff. So I'm going to add it. And I'm going to show you one more thing you can do. This plus button allows you to add more terms. So I'll add one more. And this is going to be Amendment 5. So I spelled that. And now I go to auto-define Amendment 5. And I found the 5 things that I like, and I see that it's missing one, so I will add in eminent domain because I want my students to know 5 things about Amendment 5. So now I have created the set. I hit create to finalize. As you see an option up here, I can add this to a class if I want to, and I'm going to add it to the government class I just created. So by that check mark, I know it's automatically found, and I can go check under my settings. I come down to my class, which is government, and there's my terms I just created. And now what I'm going to show you is how the students can use this as a formative assessment tool. So you see I have my 5 or 6 terms down here. The thing they can do is they can use this as a flashcard tool. So I'll just show you how this works. I see Bill of Rights, and I think in my head, okay, what is the Bill of Rights? I think first 10 amendments. I can click to flip, and there we go. I found out I was right. Go to the next one. It actually, if you click
Amendment 1.
Click on the term, it will actually read it out loud to you. So that's a flashcard version of it. There's also a learn version. This one will give you the definition. You have to type in the terms. So I see the definition. I know that's Amendment 3. So I hit enter, and you can see one of the difficult things about this is you have to spell it perfectly to get it right. But you know, the other cool tool about this is I know I got it right. I just misspelled it, so I can go override I was right. And next it gives me the next one. The Speller app version gives you a chance to listen to it.
Amendment 4.
They say Amendment 4, then you get to type in the definition. I'm going to show you a couple more tools that this can do. You can do with these terms, and these are kind of fun for the students. And it's also pretty cool. Once you create a class, you can track their progress and see who has the best scores. But Scatter, what it does is, as you can see it, first of all, it starts timing you, so kids will be very competitive to see who can get the best score. But you have to drag Amendment 2 to the definition, and I know Amendment 2 is right to bear arms, and if I drag it correctly, it will disappear. And then what I'm trying to do is see the best score. And like I said, you could track your students and see who gets the best score. So I'm going to move on to the last part of this. One more way to study this, and this is called a race. And what will happen is once I start playing, it'll bring the definition over the screen very slowly. And before it gets off the screen, I need to type in Amendment 5. Enter, and then if it disappears, I got it correct. There's a couple pretty cool games they can play, and they get scores and times, and they just kind of can be competitive with one another. And then the best formative assessment tool you have is you can actually create a test within this, and you can write whether you want it to be a written test, if you don't want it written, all multiple choice, create the new test. You can use definition, both, whatever. And this is a way to finally quiz them and see if they've retained the information about the vocabulary terms. And the difficult thing about this is to be able to track this, it requires you to upgrade. So that's one of the challenges of this website. To get all the full utilities out of it, you must pay an annual fee. But the simple thing is you can also just print this off and give it as a written exam. So that's one way around that. But obviously, one of the strengths of this site is this great way to study vocabulary, and a great way to introduce vocabulary. A great way, kind of flip your classroom. Also, you can give these terms as a lesson for the students to go home and study, and say there's going to be an exam next time. Obviously, one of the challenges is, like I said again, to utilize the site fully, you must pay a little bit for it. And like I said, the biggest uses are vocabulary, quick formative assessments, get quick feedback from the students. They play in these games and stuff. You can track their progress and kind of see how they're doing rather quickly. So that's my first website. Like I said, a great formative assessment tool, Quizlet.com. And now I'm going to show you the second tool, which is called Socrative.com. Another great formative assessment tool for the classroom. I'm going to go ahead and log in. You would use a teacher login. And looks like I'm already logged in. Very simple to create an account. That first screen would give you the chance to create an account. And this is what I would define this as, is it's a free online tool that's much like the clicker system. Many people are aware of the clicker system, where the teacher creates assessments, formative assessments, and the students have these little remotes that they control, and they chime in with their answers, and the teachers are able to track it. But this is a free online tool that serves the same purpose as a clicker system, but it's free, and the clickers are no longer necessary. What's necessary is you would need the students would need either an iPhone or some kind of laptop handheld device in order to be able to do this in a classroom. First couple tools here are, one's a quick question, and what this can be utilized as, I'm not going to show it to you today, but say you're having a discussion in class and you just want a quick question to kind of gauge how the students are gaining the material. You just come in here and you ask the question out loud and say, is it true or false? The students, they'll log into this, just put their name in, and all they have to do to get into your question is to type your room name, which mine's K Germain, and then they type in true or false, and you just get quick feedback about the topic you're discussing in class. So that one actually takes no preparation. You can just do it in class. And the second one is very similar. First of all, in order to go to it, you got to make sure that you finish the one you're on. So the exit ticket is very similar. Once again, you just ask a class, very simple thing to exit the classroom, and then they'll answer the questions, and then their answers will show up here, and kind of get a little bit of information what the class is thinking. What I'm going to show you about this site is the quiz and space race. So manage quizzes, if you go to this, you can create a quizzes, import quizzes, etc. And this is a little opportunity to show my quizzes. What I'm going to do is, I've already created a quiz for time purposes, and I'm going to click on this quiz, and we're going to start it. And what the students would see is, once they log into this, they'll just see the quiz. But I'm going to use a student pace, which allows the students to go at their pace. You can also make it timed where they have to answer them in a certain period of time. But this allows you to see the student names if you would like it. I like to turn these two on. It randomizes the question order and answers, so if you tend to use C all the time, it'll change the answers up for them. And student feedback allows you to kind of just track how the students are doing all together. And now, once I've started this quiz, I'll kind of show you how this works. The quiz is started, and the students will now go on their devices, and they will start the quiz. And as you can see, on another device, I've already logged in with an iPhone and made up the name Rod. And Rod is currently taking the quiz. And you can see that Rod has answered the first question correctly, and the second question was incorrect. And you get to tag their process. And then I can see now that Sue has joined the conversation. All they do is they go to the website, they type in the room number, and all this is ready to go. And Sue's currently answered the first question, and I see that Sue has gotten the question right. And like I said, you able to track to see which students are doing this, and absolute immediate feedback how they're getting along with this. So it's a pretty cool tool. Just a quick formative assessment. This was a quiz that I created. You can create multiple choice, true, false, and short answer questions. And on the short answer questions, you can accept multiple answers. You can put all the answers in that you think are acceptable, and then it'll accept them all. So that's a pretty cool tool. And I'm going to go ahead and finish. And on finish, you can see I can look at the chart, which is this chart in the background to show me how students are getting, or I can email the results, the reports to my email, so I can actually take a grade on this or keep data on the students. I can download the results if I want to, or I can just click view later, which I'm going to do right now. And then the final thing about this website, it's pretty cool, is this is called Space Race. And I'm going to click on my saved quiz. I'm going to say you can create as many teams you want to. You can put the students in the teams of 3 or 4 and have 4 teams, or you can have up to 20 teams. And I'm going to auto assign team colors, turn the data feedback back, and now I'm going to start activity. And once the students have got onto Socrative on their devices, once again, they will enter their names. And as you can see, that is currently taking place. And you can see the first one has answered the question, they've gotten it right. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get their rocket to the right side before the other team does. And it looks like now the second person has chimed in, and they got the question right. So, or we seem to have a difficulty, but the easiest thing you can see is how I think this is working on one device and not the other one. But the students that are doing this, once they're getting the question right and submitting it, their rocket is moving, and they would want to beat the next team. So that is the space race. And once again, with space race, I can do the same thing as I talked about earlier, the space race aspect of it. So two very quick, the quick question exit ticket just allows you to be able to get very quick feedback right in the middle of a lesson, no planning necessary. The start a quiz space race aspect would require you to do a little preparation before class, because you'd have to create the quiz questions before class so the students would have something to go with. But as for the uses of this, it's obviously just a great immediate feedback tool. It's a great way to take a formative assessment quiz just with a few questions right in the middle or right at the beginning of the class. And then as an administrator, I would think this would be a great tool for professional development. You could create like a survey right at the end, shoot it out, have the staff get on their devices and to chime in on what they're getting, and you have the immediate feedback of results right in front of you. Or you can use it as, just during the professional development, how's it going, the quick question, any confusions, any questions that you'd like answered. So great tool as administrator, and obviously in the classroom, just a great formative assessment tool to get immediate feedback. Some challenges I could see with this is obviously if your students don't have devices or technology in the classroom, this is not applicable. and another one, if teachers are um, hesitant to let students use iPhones, stuff like that, that could be a problem. But the strengths is, it's a great way to utilize technology and get immediate feedback. So those are my two Web 2.0 tools for formative assessment. I suggest they're very easy to use, very quick to learn, and not a lot of preparation needed to utilize them in the classroom. And I would suggest that you try them out, and I think your students will really like them utilizing technology in the classroom.